there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to paint a picture of a hummingbird in watercolor, but first I want to do the drawing with a marker just to show you nice and bright. I drew it already on my watercolor card, but it might be kind of hard to see, so I thought we would draw it here together first. So we're going to start off with the hummingbird's head, which is kind of like an oval, and draw with a pencil very lightly so that you can erase your lines. And then the body, we're going to have kind of like a ovally, kind of lozengey, pointy on the bottom shape. And then the wing, got coming back here, it's again like an ovally lozenge shape, and the bottom one is kind of coming out back like that. We've got the beak, and then we've got this fan of tail feathers here, which will individually be kind of like that. We have so many hummingbirds around our house. I had several requests to do hummingbirds, and I decided I probably ought to. That would be a nice quick little project to do. I want to fatten up this wing a little bit there, and then kind of get the little feathers in, just like that. You don't really, there's like kind of a little triangle-y area there. And then to put a couple flowers here so we can be aiming for something, we'll do some fuchsia. So we'll do a few here. I'll do one up here pretty high. Let's start with these petals coming here, because they're kind of like a little bell-shaped flower. Maybe put a little bud in here. Maybe another one kind of dropping down. Keeping the drawing very loose, as you can see. I'm not going to put a background in this painting, but if you want to do a background, you're more than welcome to. Got these little kind of things sticking out there. And that's the basis of our drawing for a hummingbird. Alright, so if you need to, pause it, get that sketched out, and then grab your watercolors, and we're going to begin the painting. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. There we go, and I'm using, so I'm going to be using some metallic watercolors later, but I'm going to start off with my regular transparent Yarka watercolors because they're super bright, and I think I will begin with a round brush. So first, let's wet the body of the hummingbird. I'm just going to wet, not the beak, but the actual, just the kind of head and body area with clear water. Okay. And then I'm going to just drip in some really great colors. I'm going to use a little bit of, I think I'll use some like either sap green or hooker's green. Start that up there. Whoops, I completely went right off the, head there. But you know what you can do? If that happens, grab a tissue. See, when you make the mistakes, you learn things. And just blot it off. I might have to put a background in there, actually, now that I made that error, but I'm not going to worry about it. Get some of that sap green in there, and I'm actually going to drag some of that down over here to the wing. I'm going to grab some turquoise blue, that kind of under the face there. You know, I don't worry about the mistakes in my watercolor that much, tell you the truth, because I like that kind of spontaneous look. I feel like I want a little purple in there too. Just because I feel like it would look really great with those colors. So I'm going to throw a little bit of that in. And then I'm just going to kind of, with my fairly, just brush, it doesn't really have that much color left on it. I'm just going to kind of drag in some very faint muted color, and then I'm going to just add a little bit of that turquoisey color right into the tips of those wings so that it can kind of just do its thing. Hummingbirds are really hard to observe. They're very, very fast. So I think sometimes when you have something like that, the more you can just kind of give the impression, I'm just going in with clear water here on these wings, the more that you can just kind of give the impression of the animal, the more realistic it looks, because nobody's really staring there at a hummingbird, because unless they fly into your window, you're not going to see them still. They're going to be on the move. I think I want to use, maybe I'll take a little bit of that purple and use it on the wings. Now I'm not going with this, you know, actual hummingbird colors as much as I am just kind of playing with my paint here. So this tutorial might be, you know, a little bit different. Might break you out of your comfort zone a little bit. I want to make a little bit of a gray, so what I'm going to do is use that green that I was using and mix it in with some of that purple. And look at that. Look at my palette. It made a really nice kind of grayish black. And I'm just going to go in and add that to some of the wings too, to give it a little bit more of a realistic look there. And we're going to need our credit card scraper. I hope mine's handy. Put a little bit of that in the wings down there too. And don't worry if it gets fuzzy, because like I said before, they're really quick birds, so, you know, not like you really have to worry about them. You know, somebody's seeing this and saying, wait a minute, when I saw a hummingbird the other day, it looked like this. When you saw a hummingbird the other day, it was moving too fast for you to actually see it, so come right down. Alright, I'm just flicking, oh, I won't put the feet in there. I'm just flicking in some kind of shapes there. I'm dragging some paint out. I want to make a darker version of that, and I'm switching brushes because I'm not really that crazy about that brush. I haven't painted in a couple of days, so I've cleaned since then, so my brushes are hither and thither. I'm going to take some really concentrated green right off my palette, take some really concentrated purple, and that's going to give me a really nice dark. That's more purple than gray right now, but I'm just going to go in and add some kind of inky definition there. I don't want too much definition because this animal is moving. I want a little bit of something. And I am going to use some of that in the tip of the beak. Hold your brush straight up and down if you want to get a nice fine line like that. And I want to kind of crisp up things here, especially since I made that error at the beginning. And I'm just going to drag a little bit of that inkiness down. I think I really like that look of the inky dark there. And I'm going to put I'm just going to put a little dab for the feet. I really want to get the eyeball in there, but I don't want it to mix all over the face, so I'm just very gently going in there. And it did mix on the face, so I'm actually going to blot that off now. Okay, so don't do that. Don't put that on the face yet. It's way too early for that. Look at that. Now I'm going to have to go in there and do something else in a little bit. I also want to lighten up these feathers down here at the bottom where they meet the tail. And let's go work on the flower so we don't mess up our bird anymore. Oh, one thing I do want to do is just kind of with a wet brush merge those colors a little bit. There we go. Alright, now let's go over to our flowers. Still like grabbing, I still don't have the brush I want. Let's go with this one. There we go. These were extremely cheap royal brushes. They're not bad, but they're not aqualons. They're kind of not as snappy as I would like them. Alright, so for our fuchsia, let's take a little of that purple that we were using. And let's paint these little petals right in here. I'm just going to leave a little gap between the petals so they don't all run together. And I'm going to go up to this one here. This is very loose painting. It's just a little greeting card. That's what I'm working on, just a little greeting card thing. I'm going to add a little bit of that purple into the stems just for funsies, and I'm going to grab that green that we were using. And go ahead and make this full screen if you're having a hard time seeing what I'm doing here. Add a little bit of green into the stems there. And I think a little bit of green onto this little area right there. I'm going to need a red for this, and I haven't used a red in this painting yet, so I'm going to choose very carefully, and I think I want a cool red, so I'm going to go with like an alizarin crimson or something along those lines. Like that. Any sort of cooler red. You don't want to get an orangey red. That's not going to really go too well with this. It's going to make mud if it mixes in with our purple. And you know, there might be some mixing going on, mixing and mingling, so we want to make sure that it's going to look good. Not that juicy. And it might want to mix with some of the other colors that we have there, so just keep that in mind. Don't worry if it does. We'll pull some of these little stamens down. I really want this to be a loose painting, so if you don't care for that, you paint it however you want. But I'm just getting ready for the beach. I'm feeling like I just want kind of an easy peasy loose painting today. Sometimes it's more fun to capture the impression than the actual... I sound like I'm just making excuses for why I'm such a lazy painter. Is that what's coming across, because that's really how I feel like it's coming across. And I think, you know, tell you the truth, I don't remember how a fuchsia leaf looks, so I'm just gonna like paint a few more stems coming down here. See, that's what you do. You fake it if you don't remember. I'm not exactly sure what a hummingbird looks like, but I was sitting on the porch the other day, and I think this is about right. Oh, you should probably find somebody else to watch. You know, I'm gonna take some of that red though, and I'm gonna put it in the beak, because their beaks are, I think, I have a little bit of red. There are the ruby-throated hummingbirds. If that's the one you want to do, you could put a little of that color right on their chest too. And they tend to be a little more green, as a matter of fact. And let's see, I'm gonna go do that eye now, and I don't know if it's really bothering me that that the face kind of has that blotted out area. I am trying to leave a little white for a sparkle in the eye, but if you don't worry, you can use a knife to scrape that out later. My head's probably right in the shot because I'm kind of leaning over there. I've had like a little extra coffee. My husband was working a later shift today, so I brewed a second pot of coffee, and now you're paying the price for that. You're seeing me shaking, you're listening to me ramble. I guess that's nothing new, is it? Alright, I'm just going to add a little more definition with this dark color that I made. Remember, I didn't use black, I used purple and green. I always mix my darks from the colors I've already used, so they look like they match a little bit. But I don't want to overdo it because I'm kind of loving how wild it is. So what I'm going to do is just sign my name. I think I'll use that green. I think I'll go over here to balance it out a little bit. And I'm just going to put my initials, LMW14, 2014. And I do hope you like it. If you want, you can add some splashes to it. I'm thinking mine's a little wild as it is, so I don't think I'll put the splashes on, but you go right ahead. Oh, and you know what? I told you I was going to use this, so I probably should. So whenever you're using metallic paints, it's a good idea to give it a little spritz of water first, so, and that just helps the color really release. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, and I'm tapping because I want the texture of feathers, so I'm just going to kind of tap in some of this color, and I'm going to do the same thing with a little of this pretty blue. Tappa 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 tappa. I have too much water. Tappa tappa tappa. That's a little better. Oh, look at that, and I can kind of go in there where I kind of wiped away a lot of my color. Yeah, I planned it that way. I mean, that's what I meant to say, is I planned that. I'll just dab a little bit, just to give it a little bit of that iridescence that birds have, and I can streak a little bit of that in there. Try not to overdo it. It's awfully hard. I have a hard time not overdoing it. I tend to overdo, so really, you know, you probably should stop a few steps before I do, and you'll be all set. And then if I tip this, I think we'll be able to see some of the coolness. Maybe that color might be a little bit better. I wonder. Let's try it. Yeah, I have no restraint when it comes to the metallic. God, no, that's not better. No, forget that. Let's go back to this one. This one's much better. Just tap a little bit of that in there. I'm trying not to get in the eyeball. I'm going to get it in the eyeball. I know I am, and then I'm going to smear that all over the place. And let's take a look at that. Let's just kind of, I don't think you're going to really tell until it dries, but it's got a little bit of sheen there, and I'm happy with that. So there you have it, how to paint a hummingbird in watercolors. I don't know if I like it better with or without the metallic. You can do whatever you want because it's your painting. Thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And until next time, happy crafting!